There is a quiet moment many older adults experience, and they rarely talk about it out loud. It often happens in the morning. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, and instead of standing up smoothly like you once did, there's a pause. Not because you're lazy, not because you're tired, but because your legs don't quite feel ready yet. They feel thinner, weaker, less dependable. You place your hands on the mattress or the nightstand and push yourself up, feeling that small but undeniable strain in your thighs, your hips, your arms, a strain that didn't used to be there. And for just a second, a thought passes through your mind. Is this just what getting older feels like now? That moment can be unsettling, not dramatic, not painful enough to call a doctor, but quietly discouraging, because muscle loss doesn't arrive like an accident. It arrives like a slow dimming of a light. You notice it when carrying groceries feels heavier than it should. You notice it when climbing stairs requires a hand on the railing. You notice it when standing up from a chair takes a second try. And maybe the most emotional moment of all is when you catch yourself avoiding things you used to enjoy. Long walks, gardening, traveling, playing with grandchildren, even simple household tasks. Not because you don't want to do them, but because your body doesn't feel as capable as it once did. What makes this especially hard is that many seniors believe this decline is unavoidable, that muscle loss is simply the price of living longer. They're told, sometimes directly and sometimes subtly, that weakness is normal after a certain age. But here's the reassuring truth. While aging does change the body, rapid muscle loss is not something you're powerless against. And even more comforting, you don't need extreme workouts, expensive supplements, or complicated plans to begin supporting your muscles again. In fact, one of the most overlooked reasons seniors lose muscle has nothing to do with motivation or effort. It has to do with what quietly disappears from the plate over the years. Many older adults eat less protein than their bodies now require, not because they're careless, but because appetites change, digestion changes, habits change, meals become smaller, simpler, softer, and one incredibly simple, familiar food, something many people stop buying after midlife, slowly vanishes from the refrigerator. A food that once appeared regularly in kitchens, a food that is gentle, affordable, easy to chew, and deeply supportive to aging muscles. Today, we're going to talk about that overlooked food. We're going to talk about why muscle loss accelerates after 60, why common advice often fails seniors, and how reintroducing this one everyday food can help support strength, stability, and confidence over time. This isn't about chasing youth, it's about preserving independence. It's about standing up without hesitation. It's about feeling steady in your own body again. And most importantly, it's about understanding that your muscles are still listening, even now. Before we go any further, a quick note. This information is for educational purposes only. It's not meant to diagnose or treat any condition. Always check with a healthcare professional if you have specific medical concerns. Now let's continue. I want to be very clear about something from the beginning. This is not a miracle story. This is not a one secret doctors don't want you to know. And this is not about reversing time. What you're about to hear is grounded in what we know about aging bodies, nutrition, and how muscles respond later in life. Over decades of observing older adults, nutrition experts and aging specialists have noticed a consistent pattern. As people age, they often eat less overall protein, even while their protein needs actually increase. This mismatch doesn't cause problems overnight, it unfolds slowly. Year by year, muscle fibers become smaller, strength decreases, balance becomes less reliable, and everyday movements require more effort. What's important to understand is that this process is not a personal failure. It's not because someone didn't try hard enough. It's because aging muscles require clearer signals and better raw materials to stay active. You see, younger bodies respond quickly to small amounts of protein. Older muscles, however, can become a little hard of hearing. They need a stronger nutritional signal to maintain themselves, and that's where food choices matter far more than most people realize. The food we'll talk about today isn't exotic. It doesn't come in a capsule. It doesn't require a prescription. It's been sitting on grocery store shelves for decades. Yet many seniors stop eating it for reasons like convenience, old habits, or the belief that it's not necessary anymore. What I'll share comes from well-established principles of senior nutrition and real-world observations of what helps older adults maintain function. No exaggerated promises, no fabricated studies, just careful explanation, repetition, and practical understanding. If you've ever felt confused by conflicting nutrition advice, you're not alone. Seniors are often given guidance meant for younger bodies. That's why today we're focusing specifically on what works best for aging muscles, in aging bodies, living real lives. And we'll take it slowly. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was 72 when she first noticed something had changed. She wasn't sick, she wasn't injured, but she felt diminished. She used to pride herself on being independent. She lived alone, managed her home, did her own shopping. She even enjoyed rearranging furniture now and then, but over time she began to avoid lifting anything heavy. Laundry baskets stayed half full. Grocery trips became shorter. She stopped volunteering at her community centre because standing for long periods made her legs ache. What frightened her most wasn't pain. It was the feeling of becoming fragile. She told herself it was just aging. She told herself not to complain. After all, nothing was wrong on paper, but emotionally, something was slipping. Margaret began to feel disconnected from her body, as if it no longer responded the way she expected. One day, while visiting her daughter, she struggled to rise from a low couch. It took effort, it took concentration, and it took help. That moment stayed with her. Later that evening, she quietly cried in the guest bedroom, not because she needed help, but because she feared needing more help in the future. Margaret didn't want to become a burden. She didn't want to lose her autonomy. She began reading, asking questions, paying attention, and what surprised her most was how little protein she was actually eating. Toast for breakfast, soup for lunch, a small salad for dinner, comfortable foods, easy foods, but not muscle-supporting foods. She hadn't intentionally removed protein from her diet. It just faded away as her appetite shrank. When she learned how aging muscles respond differently and how certain foods send stronger signals than others, it changed how she looked at her meals, not in a stressful way, in a gentle, supportive way. And one simple food made the biggest difference. We'll come back to Margaret soon. To understand why muscle loss happens, we need to talk about how the body changes after 60. Think of your muscles like a factory. When you're younger, the factory runs efficiently. Small deliveries of raw materials keep everything running smoothly. But as time passes, the machinery becomes slower to respond. It's not broken. It just needs clearer instructions and better supplies. After 60, the body becomes less efficient at using protein to rebuild muscle. This is sometimes called anabolic resistance. In simple terms, muscles don't respond as strongly to small amounts of protein as they once did. At the same time, many seniors eat less food overall, so the factory is receiving fewer deliveries and responding less efficiently to them. The result is gradual muscle shrinkage, less strength, less stability, less confidence in movement. Inflammation can add another layer. Low-grade inflammation, common with aging, acts like background noise, interfering with muscle repair signals. And inactivity, often caused by fear of falling or fatigue, can accelerate the process even further. This is why muscle loss can feel sudden, even though it's been developing quietly for years. The encouraging part is this: muscles remain adaptable well into later life. They still respond to the right signals. They still rebuild when given proper support. But the signals must be clear, and that's where today's overlooked food comes in. When seniors first notice muscle weakness, the advice they usually hear sounds logical on the surface. Just exercise more. Lift some weights. Stay active. And while movement is important, this advice often misses a critical reality of aging bodies. Exercise alone does not build or maintain muscle if the body does not have the nutritional building blocks to respond. Many older adults try to follow exercise recommendations only to feel exhausted, sore, or discouraged. They walk more, they stretch. Some even try light resistance training, but without enough high-quality protein, the muscles don't rebuild efficiently. It's like trying to repair a house without enough bricks. Another common failure comes from relying on processed convenience foods marketed as senior-friendly. Soft foods, low-calorie foods, sugary snacks. These foods are easy to eat, but offer very little muscle support. Then there are supplements. Protein powders can be helpful for some people, but many seniors struggle with digestion, taste, cost, or confusion about which ones are safe. As a result, they give up. What's missing from most advice is simplicity. Older adults don't need extremes. They need consistent, gentle support that fits into daily life. That's why food, not supplements, not fads, is often the most effective starting point, especially one food that checks all the boxes for aging muscles. The overlooked food I want to talk about today is eggs. Yes, simple eggs. For many seniors, eggs slowly disappear from the diet over the years. Some worry about cholesterol. Some lose the habit of cooking breakfast. Some think eggs are not necessary anymore, but eggs are one of the most complete muscle-supporting foods available, especially for older adults. They are soft, easy to chew, easy to digest. They contain high-quality protein with all essential amino acids, including leucine, a key trigger for muscle repair. Eggs also provide vitamin D, B vitamins, and healthy fats that support muscle function and nerve signaling. What makes eggs especially powerful for seniors is that they deliver a strong protein signal in a small volume of food. This matters when appetite is lower. You don't need a large steak. You don't need complicated recipes. Just 1 or 2 eggs can send a clear message to aging muscles. Stay active, stay engaged. Eggs are affordable, familiar, accessible, and yet they are often overlooked. Let's slow this down and explain why eggs work so well for aging muscles. Protein is made of amino acids. Think of amino acids as letters that spell instructions for muscle repair. Among these letters, one stands out for seniors: leucine. Leucine acts like an on switch for muscle building. Younger muscles flip this switch easily. Older muscles need a firmer press. Eggs naturally contain enough leucine to press that switch. They also provide a complete amino acid profile, meaning nothing is missing. Another important factor is digestibility. As we age, digestion can become less efficient. Heavy meats can feel uncomfortable. Eggs are gentle. They break down easily. This means the body actually absorbs and uses the protein instead of wasting it. Egg yolks also matter. The yolk contains nutrients that support muscle contraction, nerve communication, and hormone balance. Removing the yolk removes much of the benefit. This is why whole eggs, not just egg whites, are ideal for most seniors unless otherwise advised by a doctor. Eggs also support satiety without heaviness. They don't spike blood sugar dramatically. They fit easily into breakfast, lunch, or even dinner. Most importantly, they are consistent. And consistency is what aging muscles respond to best. Another example is Robert, age 68. Robert was still active, but noticed his arms thinning. He felt weaker opening jars. He added eggs back into his mornings, 2 eggs with toast. Over months, he noticed better grip strength and less fatigue. Then there's Linda, 75. She lived alone and often skipped meals. Eggs became her reliable anchor food, scrambled, boiled, simple. She reported feeling steadier on her feet and more confident standing from chairs. These aren't dramatic transformations, they are quiet improvements. And for seniors, quiet improvements mean everything. Here's how seniors can use eggs to support muscle health safely and simply. Start with 1 to 2 whole eggs per day. Timing matters. Morning or midday is ideal when muscles are most responsive. Cooking methods should be gentle, scrambled with low heat, boiled, poached. Avoid deep frying. Pair eggs with vegetables or whole grains if possible. Consistency matters more than quantity. It's better to eat eggs most days than many eggs once in a while. Over time, muscles respond to repetition. Habits work best when they are comforting, not demanding. Eggs fit naturally into routines. The same pan, the same plate, the same rhythm. This reduces mental effort. When food feels familiar, the body feels safe. And when the body feels safe, it adapts. One of the most common reasons seniors don't see benefits is not because eggs don't help, but because of small, understandable mistakes along the way. Many people stop too soon, trying eggs for a week or 2 and assuming nothing is happening, even though muscle support works quietly and takes time to build. Others eat eggs only occasionally, without consistency, which sends mixed signals to aging muscles that need regular nourishment. Some avoid the yolk out of old fears, not realizing that many of the nutrients that support muscle function and nerve communication are found right there. Another frequent mistake is expecting immediate results, like sudden strength or visible changes, when the first improvements are often subtle, such as feeling steadier or less fatigued. It's also easy to focus on eggs alone while ignoring overall protein intake throughout the day, which can limit progress. Finally, skipping meals entirely, especially earlier in the day, deprives muscles of the steady signals they need to stay active. Supporting muscle after 60 is not about quick fixes, it's about slow, steady consistency that gently works with the body over time. This approach works especially well for seniors who notice gradual weakness rather than sudden or severe decline. These are the people who can still move independently, but feel that everyday tasks require more effort than they used to. The body is still responsive at this stage, and gentle nutritional support can make a meaningful difference over time. It is also very helpful for seniors who have a low or changing appetite. When eating large meals feels difficult, eggs provide a concentrated source of muscle-supporting protein in a small, easy-to-manage portion. This allows the body to receive what it needs without feeling overwhelmed or overly full. This method is ideal for those who want simple, realistic solutions. There is no complex planning, no strict schedules, and no overwhelming rules. Eggs fit naturally into daily routines and do not require major lifestyle changes, which makes consistency much easier to maintain. Finally, this approach suits seniors who prefer food over supplements. Some people dislike powders, pills, or artificial products, or feel unsure about their safety. Using a familiar, everyday food feels more natural, more comforting, and easier to trust, especially when the goal is long-term support rather than quick results. In the first few weeks, many seniors begin to notice small but meaningful changes in their energy levels. Mornings may feel a little less heavy, and everyday movements may require slightly less effort. These early shifts are often subtle, but they are important signs that the body is responding to more consistent muscle support. By the end of the first month, improvements in stability often become more noticeable. Standing up from a chair may feel smoother, balance may feel a bit more reliable, and there may be less hesitation during routine movements. These changes help reduce fear and build trust in the body again. Around 3 months, many people report clearer signs of strength support. This does not mean dramatic muscle growth, but rather a feeling of better control, endurance, and confidence during daily activities like carrying groceries or climbing stairs. The body feels more capable and less fragile. Emotionally, confidence often returns before physical strength fully does. Feeling steadier and more supported creates reassurance, and that emotional shift can be just as important as the physical changes, encouraging continued consistency and self-trust. When muscles receive better support, the benefits often extend far beyond strength alone. One of the first ripple effects many seniors notice is improved balance. Stronger muscles in the legs and core help the body make small, automatic adjustments that keep you steady while walking, turning, or standing. This can reduce the feeling of wobbliness and increase confidence in everyday movement. Better muscle support also contributes to improved posture. When muscles are nourished and engaged, it becomes easier to sit and stand upright without strain. Shoulders feel less slumped, the back feels more supported, and breathing can even feel a bit easier. Good posture is not about forcing the body into position, but about giving it the strength it needs to hold itself naturally. Many seniors also experience more consistent energy. This is not a jittery or overstimulated feeling, but a steadier level of stamina throughout the day. When muscles are properly fueled, the body wastes less energy compensating for weakness, leaving more reserve for daily tasks and activities. Just as importantly, there is often an improvement in mood. Feeling stronger and steadier can ease background anxiety about falling or struggling. This sense of physical reassurance often brings emotional relief, helping seniors feel more positive, capable, and engaged with life again. It's important to be honest and realistic when talking about any health approach. Eggs are generally safe for most people, and they have been part of human diets for generations. For many seniors, they are a gentle, well-tolerated source of nutrition that fits easily into daily meals. That said, everyone's health situation is unique. If you have specific medical conditions, such as certain metabolic disorders, allergies, or dietary restrictions advised by your doctor, it's always wise to check with a healthcare provider before making changes. This ensures that any approach fits your individual needs safely. It's also essential to set clear boundaries. This is support, not a cure. Eggs do not reverse aging, eliminate medical conditions, or replace medical care. What they can do is provide consistent nutritional signals that help the body function more effectively over time. There are no guarantees, only possibilities. Many seniors report benefits, but progress depends on consistency, overall diet, movement, and individual health factors. The goal here is gentle support, not unrealistic promises. If there is one message to take with you, it is this: your body is not failing you. The changes you feel are not signs of weakness or giving up. They are signs that your body's needs have shifted. Aging does not mean your body has stopped responding. It means it needs clearer, kinder support than it once did. Your muscles are still listening. They are still capable of adapting. They are simply asking for the right signals, given consistently and patiently. And sometimes that support does not come from complicated plans, expensive products, or exhausting routines. Sometimes it comes from something familiar, something simple, something that fits quietly into your life without stress. Supporting your body is an act of respect, not resistance. It's about working with where you are today, not where you used to be. Small, steady choices can restore confidence, comfort, and trust in your own body. And over time, those choices can help you feel more grounded, more capable, and more at ease in the life you're living now. Muscle loss is not weakness of character. It's a nutritional signal mismatch. By restoring one overlooked food, you restore communication, and that can change how you feel in your body.